Hey lovelies! Are you looking for a delicious way to step up your side dish game? Well, have I ever got an idea for you? Today we are making Hasselback potatoes 3 delicious ways. And if you're not familiar with Hasselback potatoes, they're basically a whole potato that's been thinly sliced along the top. Those thin slices allow you to stick all sorts of yummy flavor into the potato, so you get more flavor per bite and you get nice crispy edges. Just before we get to all of that, I of course will remind you once again that Meals Made Easy is now on store shelves and available online. So if you haven't gotten your copy, I definitely recommend you should. I have an entire section in the book dedicated to amazing sides that I think you guys will really enjoy, almost as much as you're going to enjoy these next 3 awesome potato recipes. Now, we're gonna kick things off with some herb and garlic Hasselback potatoes. To Hasselback your potatoes, you wanna start with 2 wooden spoons like this. This is basically just going to prevent our knife from going all the way down and cutting our potato in half. Then, starting on one end, you're going to create just thin slices like this. Doing this allows us to get more yummy flavor in between the potatoes while they're cooking. I would say this is a hassle-free way to Hasselback your potatoes. Am I right? Once you've got all of your potatoes Hasselbacked, you can arrange them in a baking dish like this. I prefer to do these in a baking dish over a baking sheet because we're going to be using butter and we want to create a little pooling of the butter so the bottoms get buttered as well. Now for my first recipe here, I am using some yellow potatoes. This recipe actually lends itself really well to baby potatoes as well. So if you have some baby potatoes, I definitely recommend giving those a try. Also, have you guys noticed yet that my shirt today matches the Hasselback pattern on my potatoes? There are no accidents, it's a true story. All right, so to get these flavored up, we are going to be mixing some minced garlic into some butter. Then I will pour that yumminess all over my potatoes. The real secret to success with Hasselback potatoes is working the toppings in between the slices so that you get lots of good flavor. Then I'll hit these with some salt and pepper and then pile on some fresh herbs here. I'm using a combination of some thyme and rosemary sprigs. It's going to transfer all sorts of yummy flavor to our potatoes. To bake these up, I've got my oven preheated to 375 degrees. I'm actually going to cover my baking dish in foil for the first 40 minutes of cooking. Doing this will prevent your garlic from burning because we don't like burnt garlic in the oven. For the last 15 to 20 minutes of cooking, I like to remove the foil. This allows our potatoes to get a nice golden color and to crisp up a little bit while they finish cooking. At this point, I'm just gonna use a basting brush to top them with even more of that great buttery goodness, and these are ready to be devoured. And I'm just gonna say it, guys, I think these potatoes would pair really beautifully with the balsamic glazed chicken on page 135 of Meals Made Easy. Just saying. Next, guys, we are making a ranch roasted version of our Hasselback potatoes. I'm starting this time with some red skin potatoes. I just think the color is so beautiful, and I've sliced them all up in my Hasselback style once again and arranged them in a baking dish. To get that yummy ranch flavor happening, I'm going to mix up a really simple ranch seasoning, which is just a combination of some garlic powder, onion powder, dried dill, chives, and parsley. So much yumminess. We'll give this a stir. And then I'll just mix a few teaspoons of this mixture into my melted butter and get this slathered all over my delicious potatoes. Trust me when I tell you guys, there's no such thing as too much butter when it comes to these kinds of potatoes. I like seasoning this up with some salt and some pepper, and then I'm going to bake these in the very same way. A little bit of foil for the first 30 to 40 minutes of cooking. We'll remove the foil and let these finish off in the oven. I have to say, guys, these make a seriously spudtacular side for whatever yumminess you're serving up for dinner. For my big finale today, I am making some fully loaded Hasselback potatoes with some cheddar cheese, some sour cream, and a whole lot of crumbled bacon. Of course, that all starts with some bacon. Basically, I'm going to cook my bacon whole, and then I'll chop it up into little bits. And that bacon grease is going to do some double duty because instead of using melted butter in this recipe, I'm actually going to be using the remaining bacon fat. You know that's gonna be good. Now that my bacon's cooked, I am going to get to work on Hasselbacking my potatoes. For this one, I am going to be using my favorite of all the potatoes, a russet potato. You don't have to worry about peeling them. Once again, we're just going to give them that nice fine slice along the top, and then I'm going to arrange them on a parchment-lined baking sheet. Now it's time to get these cooking. To do that, I am going to add some of my bacon fat to the tops of each of these. If you don't want to use bacon fat, you can definitely do this with some melted butter or even some olive oil instead. Definitely up to you. I just think bacon fat has that natural salty, smoky flavor. I'll hit these up with just a little bit of salt, not too much, because already that bacon fat is quite salty, and a little bit of pepper. And then I'm going to bake these uncovered for about an hour or until they're totally tender. I'm bringing Hasselback. Na, 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 na. Just before serving, I top them up with a little bit of shredded cheddar cheese and get them back into the oven for another 5 minutes or so, and then serve them with some sour cream, those bacon bits, and of course, some chives to round out the fully loaded goodness. I hope you will give all 3 of these awesome recipes a try. If you do, be sure to tweet me, Instagram me, or Facebook me a photo, because I always love seeing your kitchen creations. Remember, all of these yummy recipes are linked in the description box. You can find them there. And finally, if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe, because there is lots more deliciousness where this came from.